Assalamu alaikum, y'all. Peace be unto you. Wake up. It's Friday. It's the weekend. It's Juma prayer day. Get on up, y'all. Let's go. Tune in. Stay tuned, I should say. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to talk about life, love, and business. I'll see y'all in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserved to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, y'all. Peace be unto you. How is everyone doing this morning? Welcome to Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. We had a good time yesterday talking about, we talked about the Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, her perseverance, her ability to manifest in the face of controversy. And we tied all of that into our financial trauma boot camp and our professional intuition topic that we were talking about yesterday and that we want to extend and have a little bit of a conversation about today. Um, you know, um, Somebody had put in the chat yesterday when we were talking about the congresswoman, and they put perseverance, and I said, yeah, perseverance. And when you hear anybody who's achieved a certain level of greatness talk, they'll talk to you about perseverance. And it's so important because a lot of times we aren't able to persevere, or a lot of times people don't persevere because they got people around them that are like, you got to find something else to do. You hear Tyler Perry talking about it. If you watch the last clip that I played with him, and he was talking about perseverance in the face of controversy, in the face of people not believing in him, in the face of people not showing up to his plays. I used to go to Tyler Perry plays in the early 2000s because they were so funny, but there wasn't that many people in there. It was a theater in New Orleans, and I don't know why I can never think of the name of it, but it started with an S. Many of our New Orleans folks in here know which one that is. And it wouldn't be filled. It would just be enough people on the floor, like scattered, but the balconies weren't filled. And he kept going. You heard in another clip where Master P talked about perseverance. His name is Percy Perseverance. Y'all get it? Yeah, he talked about perseverance. When people said, you too country, we can't play that on the radio. Like, no, we're not playing that. You too country. No, I think he said he went up to the radio station like maybe 4 or 5 times, and they was like, what you got? And he said, bout it. They was like, man, didn't I tell you to come back with something else? He went back the next week. What you got? Bout it. Now, today, that has become an anthem, and that song is so big. You have it used in commercials and sports teams and people all over. But it was perseverance. When people felt like, that music is too country, he don't rap good. No. And anytime you just start paying attention. I was listening to Byron Allen, the billionaire who now owns the Weather Channel and the rights to the Coretta Scott King story and all these other things that he's working on. I was listening to him talk about perseverance. And so it's very difficult to persevere when you got trauma. I'm going to keep coming back to that. The Congresswoman say you don't take no for an answer. You keep pushing, you find a way, you find a solution, you find a way to problem solve. You deploy every method of thinking and every methodology that you can think of to make it happen and get it done. You get rid of any thoughts, any people, and anything around you that is not supporting your ability to persevere. And I'll tell you something, sometimes as poverty conscious people, when we make a certain level of achievement, we think we live there. And we try to do everything we can to live there and stay there because we don't ever want to go back down. We don't ever want to go anywhere else. And then what we don't realize is that in order to achieve that next level of greatness, you got to start over again, persevere, being steadfast, being focused, tunnel vision. And you have to keep reinventing yourself over and over and over again. That's what you see artists like Prince do. Prince kept reinventing himself over and over and over and over. So if you went to a concert, I know as a member of New Power Generation who've been to probably close to 100 or so of his concerts, the old Prince would no longer exist. He'd give you little hints of it, but you see him evolving and constantly growing and developing. And so people around him and people in his life and people connected to him had to accept that greatness and that evolution that he was going through, because if you didn't, you couldn't hang. You just couldn't hang. And I find it interesting that that's also a part of our trauma, because a lot of us don't want to change because we don't want other people to see us a certain way. Or maybe in our community or in our circle, changing means something to somebody, and maybe it makes somebody else feel like they're not worthy or they're not as important in our lives. And so that change creates a trauma, has a negative effect, right, from the people around us, and then it impacts us, and then sometimes we carry it with us and it becomes a trauma. Those issues of perseverance, for example, when we're persevering through criticism because we are riding the vicissitude of life, and that creates trauma. Why does it create trauma? Not because you don't know deep down inside that it's necessary for you to grow and come as a child every time you're going to that next level. Because we talked about elevated places before on this show. It's all about levels. The Holy Quran talks about elevated places. He didn't say an elevated place. He said elevated places, meaning that there's always another elevation and another elevation and another elevation. And those people who are not striving for those new levels, those new elevations can create trauma in your life if they're close to you and around you, because they don't want to be reminded that they need to get out of the pocket, that they need to get out of the safe zone and go do something more and elevate. The whole idea is we want to spend this lifetime on a journey, allowing God to come through us and evolving back into Him. And we want to do that through an elevated process, not through let me destroy my body and let me just try my best to be safe, but the earth is moving, and then let me just fall and die, and then I'll get back to Him. That's not the way to live this life. Well, I can't tell you how to live, but I don't think that's the way. It's about that elevation and that elevated place. And so navigating through those vicissitudes of life create trauma. And it shouldn't have to. Because if we can recognize that life is always about creating the right vibration, and for us as business people, creating the right experiences for our customers that allows everybody to elevate, because you want your customers' vibration to elevate when they do business with you, right? Whether they come drink your coffee or eat your cake or, use your HVAC system or go to your financial boot camp, whatever it is, you want that customer to elevate. And let me tell you something else that's a key. And because we're stuck on this old business model, this is something that causes trauma in our lives. You all know I have this saying. It's a saying I actually stole from Brother Bedford, called "Old business no longer works." I put it in the book. Old business models, no longer work. And so many of us are trying to take a square peg and push it in a round hole. We're taking that old business model and we're saying, I need this to work. I want this to work. This has got to work. And we're looking at that old model Not because we studied the old model, because we saw the old model that maybe somebody else did. So we're just constantly doing it. It's creating a trauma. But guess what? In this data-driven world that we live in, that old model of supply and demand is really an illusion. I hate to tell y'all that. I don't care if you're selling ice cream, cake, cookies. I don't care if you're selling candles. Somebody else in the world got better ice cream. Somebody else in the world got better cake, better cookies. Or maybe their cake or cookies and ice cream and their candles are not better than yours. Why are people buying yours? What is attracting people to you to make you stand out? It's about the experience. It's about the vibratory experience that you give to that customer that makes them feel like they want to experience you over and over and over again. So we've moved into a world where experience is king. And some of you could say, well, what do you mean? Check out Amazon. Amazon gave you an experience. You might get a cheaper product. You might get a product that you can't even put your hands on. We buy things sight unseen right now. We just look at the picture and hope that what they send us is reflective, not only of what's in the picture, but what's in our mind, right? But the experience is really what we want. We want the fast service. We want it to come right to our door. We don't want to have to go anywhere to get it. A lot of us ain't trying to go shopping in those stores, and we want it to just come. We like that. We like that feeling of stuff just being on our door when we wake up in the morning or when we get off work. That's an experience. And in exchange for that experience, we buy cheap products from people we don't know, places we've never been, products we've never touched or seen in many cases, where we just saw a picture of it. Right? So it's about the experience. And so if we've moved into a world where the experience is king, that's why people like influencers. So if your influencers tell you, hey, buy this product, you may not know if it's a good product or not. You just buy it because the person that you feel so strongly about, that you care so much about, that you admire so much, that you want to be like, or that you think is so beautiful or so influential for whatever reason, you buy their product. You buy the product they selling. You ain't never seen it before. You ain't never touched it. So if experience is king now, then it's even more important that we navigate past the trauma, because we got to be about creating experiences nowadays. I don't care what you're selling. If you're selling sweatshirts, if you're selling t-shirts, yoga pants, or sandals, 9 times out of 10, somebody else got the sandals. Somebody else may have better sweatshirts. It's about the experience. And what about your experience? What are the attributes of the experience of doing business with you? Owner Financing Real Estate and Land said, just being authentic and truly wanting the best for the human family has helped build my business audience. They know I care. That's part of your experience then. So if part of your experience, if you dissect what is the experience of your particular brand, then the experience of your brand is that you show people that they care. There's something about your authenticity. So there's got to be attributes of your authentic self that create an experience that people like and people want to have. But as we begin, this is why this new business model of the mind of an entrepreneur that I started talking about way back in 2005, 2009, I had 2 podcasts, The Mind of an Entrepreneur and The Authentic You. And they were both on Blog Talk Radio. You can actually go out there. I think some of the stuff is still out there. And we would talk about these kind of things. And why is that important? Because we're moving into that era. And we are now full blown into that era where the experience matters. It's all about how people experience you. It really ain't about how fine you are. It ain't about how smart you are. It's about, can you transfer your experience to other people who value you and your experience? And guess what? You're going to attract people. There's a lot of people who say, well, I don't connect to Tyler Perry. I don't connect to Master P. I don't like them. But they've been able to transfer enough of themselves to people who resonate with them so that they would attract millions and millions of customers. And so what I tell my clients, if you book me on a one-on-one basis and you say, hey, I've been really successful in business and I'm doing really well. And I say, okay, so what do you want? Why are you here? I always ask my clients, what do you want? And they say, well, I feel like my business is declining, or I feel like instead of having 50 customers a month, I want to have 100 customers a month. And we're going to talk about scaling and expanding. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is, how do we mine out more attributes from you so that you create a more enhanced experience for your customers, and more of them will come to you. That's the real talk. Some people do it by expressing their trauma. Some people do it by telling who they are. It just depends. I'll give you an example. When we started, some of the stuff I've been talking about forever, but when we really started going deep into money psychology, your relationship with money, it's a workshop that I've been doing now since about 2010 or 11, which is money psychology, tune-ups and workups in your relationships with money. And people would see me do it, and they would see the success of it, or they would hear about the success of it. And then they would say, well, I'm gonna do it too. And now with Chat GPT, all you gotta do is type that in, and then all that information comes back to you. So then I had to go into saying, no, let me tell you a little bit about who I am, that I'm a coach with receipts. I come with receipts. This ain't no Chat GPT. This ain't no 1 or 2 experience type of workshop that you're going to get over here with me. You're going to get real life experience, both educated experience. You're going to get life experience. You're going to get a whole chest of tools that's going to help you navigate through your relationship with money, through this whole financial trauma. We're not talking about just, let me just fake it. This whole concept of faking it till you make it, some people have been faking for a very long time. And their whole life is all about, let me pretend to be something I'm not. Let me just copy off of what the next person is doing, and let me make money off of that. Let me get somebody else to do something for me and pretend that it's me and make money off of that. This is the world that we live in. The challenge, though, is that becomes difficult to sustain. And when you go into something being your authentic self, and you go into it allowing people to just experience you. This is why we like TikTok videos and YouTube videos and of just people eating food, or elderly people just cussing people out, or children just on there talking, because we like experiencing authenticity. There's something in our subconscious that knows that most of this stuff out here is fake. Even if our mind believes it, our subconscious knows, our heart knows that there's so much fake stuff out here, and so many people are standing before us and they're just straight up fake. And they're not fake because they want to be fake. They're fake because they're copying off of somebody else. They're fake because they don't know that from which they talk about. They don't have any experiences. So most people know that, even though they may be hypnotized and they can't turn away from it. Most people know it, but they don't know what to do about it. So when you see something on, one of these videos on TikTok and somebody living their real life, it's why we like reality TV, because it's the illusion of reality, because we're all starving for reality. So many of us are code switching and doing a bait and switch, and 1 minute we're one thing and the next minute we're another thing. That has become part of the lexicon in our culture. This is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us, first, love yourself. Then he said, accept your own and be yourself. Why? Because it's almost like we're at a point where we don't even know who we are anymore. We're going from trauma to trauma. It's like being that pinball machine where the ball is hitting and it's just going from one side to the next to the next. You go over here and you get hit with this trauma, and you go over here, you get hit with that trauma. And in the middle, you're trying to figure out who you need to be so you can handle the next hit that you're about to take. It's a game. It's a game that I want us to work on getting off of and taking a little bit more control. A little bit more focused on how we show up in the room, taking responsibility for the environment we bring into a space, the energy that we bring into a space. It's important. And once we settle in on that and we become okay with that, it doesn't necessarily matter what the algorithm does. That's why Tyler Perry said he won't let take him off of the mission that he believes God has him on. Why does he say that? Because the algorithm may say, no, that ain't a good movie. Or the few people in the audience when he started off may have indicated to other people, his stuff ain't nothing. But he just kept going and kept going. And pretty soon there began to be people who resonated with his story. Same thing with the example I gave you of Master P. Same thing with the example of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. May Allah be pleased with her. Same thing. The algorithm may say one thing, but when you are focused and you are on a mission, you can't worry about. You got to look at the algorithm almost like haters. Because if you decided that you were going to start making clothing, and people were hating on you, but you say, you know what? Something is telling me to make these clothes just like this. And you just keep going. There's going to be people around you who don't get it. People who wish you would just stop. All of that. But you can't, because there's something about it that just tells you got to keep going. And I'm going to tell you something else. You always hear these people talk about that one person or that one or two person in their life who put money in the Bible, or who offered them something, or who wanted to support them no matter what. Those are the people that you hold on to and you love. And if you're blessed to be in that position in somebody's life, you want to make sure that no matter what, you pushing them towards their dream. Look at Michael Jordan's mother. When they called to offer him the Nike deal, she said, oh, no, wait a minute. My son got to own a certain amount of it. This woman ain't an agent. She ain't she's not a sports agent. She's not an attorney. She's not negotiating contracts, but she said, my baby got to own. My baby got to be an owner. And look at what happened and where we are today. Look at Oprah Winfrey. She got offered contracts and she said, I got to own. In fact, she called her network OWN. Oprah Winfrey Network, but it's OWN. I heard her talk about Stedman being in her life and him saying, he sketched out on a piece of paper the own network, the outline of it and how he thought it should be. And before that, she had turned down plenty of deals that offered her more money, but she went for the ownership because that is what was in her spirit to do. And she had that group of people around her that helped her to do that. I'm blessed to have certain family members who they just down. It's like, this what we doing? All right, let's go. It's me, my mother, my brother. We like the Three Musketeers. All right, let's go. Let's do it. We may not always agree with each other. We may not always see it the same way, but it's like, so what we doing? All right, let's do it. And so you got to find that small niche, that small group of people. I'm also blessed to have some good sister friends in my life and some good brother friends as well, who are like, girl, I got you. What you doing? Who, if they ain't heard from me, will call me and be like, hey, what you doing? How you doing? And I try to be that to other people as well. So it's all about the experience, and it's all about supporting one another, because we're never going to really reap the benefits of uniting, pooling our resources, and stopping the wanton criticism, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad instructed us, until we start getting rid of this trauma. Because we can't unite against one another. We can't support each other. Some of us, it just pains us just to support somebody. You say, hey, I got a friend who's feeding homeless children. You know, can you give $5? And people looking like, who? What? They don't even think about the fact that they own the vibration, not that person. It's all these traumas. It's all these traumas. And believe it or not, and I'm going to give you this, the next time you have a big event and you're about to cater some food, instead of stopping at your local restaurant and grabbing up a bunch of stuff, call a Black restaurant. Give them time to get it together. You buying chicken, fried chicken anyway. Instead of stopping at the local franchise, stop at the local Black restaurant and get that 50 pieces of chicken from them. Give them time. Don't call them at the last minute. Give them time. And you'd be surprised at what that will do for that business owner. You don't even know that that might be the order that allowed them to make payroll. I was at a friend's business yesterday, and I'm looking at all the staff members he got running around. The wait staff, the hostesses, the chefs, the bartenders, the people who are cleaning up and taking stuff off the table. All of that is expensive. It costs money. I remember my mother was saying the first time she came to the hospital, and she just started thinking about all the little things that we had to buy just to maintain and keep the hospital running, whether it was Q-tips or a person who's just a concierge that cleans up all day. It costs money. It's all about cost, and it's very expensive. So you'd be surprised that your product, your contribution in terms of the business that you give that person can go a long way. That one ticket you buy to that event, that 150-piece chicken that you ordered that you was going to get anyway from KFC or Popeyes or whoever else, that one thing that you do to support that Black business, you'd be surprised. That little thing might be enough to make payroll, to help them make payroll this week. For real. When you see somebody on your timeline and they're saying something good, give a like, give a comment. Y'all know this, how the algorithm works. That's why I always tell y'all, like, subscribe, and share. I know for a fact that the algorithm is not accurate. Literally almost everywhere I go. I was in a meeting yesterday morning, and 2 women walked in and said, hey, we just wanted to tell you that we're regulars on Coffee Talk. I never see their name on the chat. I asked them, I said, what was your handle? They didn't have that to tell me. Or they told me and I didn't recognize it. But they're listening, they're on there. So this stuff's not accurate. So like, subscribe, and share. And let's work through these financial traumas that we are all constantly going through, so that we begin to create better experiences for people. I'm going to say this one last thing. A lot of us that transition out of corporate, or who try to keep the corporate vibe, if you will, got to make sure that you navigate out of that corporate mindset, if you will, that individual mindset, that kind of sterile mindset. And here's why. When you open your own business and you start selling whatever you're selling, whether it's lemons or insurance, whether it's cookies or cars, nowadays, because whatever you're selling, there's other people out there who sell it too. So the question becomes, what about the experience with you is going to make that person come back? And what about the experience with you is going to make them tell a friend? What about the experience? I've done business with people and the people were just kind of mean. Even though the product was good, I just was like, I probably won't recommend them because the experience is not good. So if you're finding yourself on a hamster wheel and you're constantly trying to sell and talk to as many people as you can, what about you and your vibration needs to be tweaked so that you attract something different to yourself, so that you create a different experience. So you'll be the one that people say, no, I got to call my girl. I want to buy some lemons. I got to call my girl. I want to buy some insurance. No, I'll call my home girl. Here's her information. Oh, you buying tea? Man, I know a brother that sells teas, and the experience is something. So not only does it mean that we as business owners have to do a better job at creating a better interactive experience with one another and with other people, but as consumers, we have to value the experience more. We value it when it comes to Amazon. And I'm not hating on Amazon, because the experience of Amazon is the experience of Amazon is we want it to come to our door. I said this earlier. We want it to come quick. And because it comes to our door, and because it comes quick, and because of whatever we attach to that emotionally, we buy stuff we never seen from people we never know, products we've never had, things we've never even touched. And we spend money, our hard-earned money. But if somebody look like you and you walk in their restaurant and maybe things are a little slower, or maybe things didn't quite go right, it wasn't perfect, you won't go back. But you'll go and send your money right into an abyss. You ordering medication and vitamins and all kind of stuff off of this site, and you don't know who they are, if it's real or not. You have no idea, but you do it all the time, month after month after month. I do it too. I'm not just talking about anybody else. It's the experience. It's the quote unquote convenience. It's the feeling of something coming right to your doorstep. The experience. So what are we creating, especially for those of us in the service industry? What experience do you get? And I would tell you, for me, the experience that you get with me is you get a support system. You get somebody that got your back, somebody that's going to help you, somebody that's going to try to add more value than what it is that I receive. You got somebody who's going to try their best to look at your situation and say, here's how I can help you improve it. Here's how I can help you get to the next level. You want to scale your business? Here's what I suggest. You want to get over this trauma? I'm going to support you through the trauma. This is how we do it. There's an experience there. Some of us are so fake and so flat, and the only way we think about creating an experience is to maybe just lighten our voice. We go from hello to hello. We think we think that's the epitome of creating a new experience. But to create that experience that we're looking for, that authentic experience, we got to work through our traumas. And I don't care who you are, if you're Black here in America, hell, if you white in America, if you here in America navigating through this predatory capitalist system, you got traumas. Unfortunately for Black and brown people, our traumas are compounded, okay, on top of some of the other life traumas that we go through. But we got the trauma, and we got to get through that trauma. And that's going to allow us to crack open a little bit. Sometimes break open, but crack open a little bit. So a little bit of our authenticity can begin to ooze out, and people can experience that. And you'll see, I guarantee you, you'll see your customers increase. You'll see your revenue increase because look, they've taken supply and demand and made it an illusion. So don't ever think that what you're offering is unique, that people can't get it nowhere, that they're never going to find it. What's unique about it is you. And what can continue to be unique about it is you. Somebody can come along and mimic you and try to be just like you, but they can't be you. So if you continue to go inside of yourself, study yourself, learn yourself, crack yourself open, allow more of yourself to show and shine, then people will have more of that experience. And when you start cracking yourself open, you start going, ooh, I got to fix that. I need to fix that. Let me work on this. But people have more of you, more of that unique energy, more of that unique divine energy that's up inside of you that they can experience. So if you want more, then we got to do more work. Okay. Let me see who's in the chat. I apologize. I have not acknowledged y'all today. All right. I see you, Sister Betty. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, Mother. I see you. This is owner financing real estate and land. Okay. I'm not. I think this is Brother Robert 11X. I think owner financing real estate and land. I think that's, you're just saying what you do, right? Right, Brother Robert? Or is that the name of your company? Let us know so we can support. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. We got Sister Monica who says, Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. We got Nubia Latifa here that says happy Friday. We got Tim Burnett here that says good morning. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. We got Sister Alita that says Assalamu alaikum, morning blessings, everyone. Wa alaikum salam, sis. Let's see. All right. I see y'all in the chat. So I hope this helps. Don't forget, family, to sponsor a student. Most of us are going to blow $150 this weekend. Don't blow the $150 on what you normally would blow it on, little drinks and a little food and a little. Sponsor somebody. Even if you can't make the financial boot camp, we got 9 days left before the camp. Okay, it's a 3-hour camp. It's going to be on August 11th, 6 to 9 p.m. We're going to come, we're going to settle in, and we're going to work on and work through some things. But most importantly, I want you to sponsor a student. It's our job. Everybody want to holler about intergenerational wealth and generational wealth, and it don't matter. You can leave your children $10 million. But if you passed on all that trauma that you've been hiding up inside of you, that they watched you avoid, and in that avoidance, they created a pattern that created trauma in them, then that $10 million ain't going to even matter. You can sit up all day long and see as many people as you want and set them up as well as you want, but it's not going to last. So we got to work on and work through those traumas. And I can tell you too, because many of us have so many traumas, we can do some targeted trauma work in terms of, okay, I know I'm going to be leaving, $10 million to my children. What specific traumas do I need to work on so that I don't pass them on? And then what specific traumas do I need to address in my children? This is going to open your awareness to that. I'm not saying that if they're not 100% healed, that they're going to squander the money. But what I am saying is that if we don't address these financial traumas, it just may not be there. Okay. All right, family. We got tomorrow morning coffee talks. We'll decide. We'll figure out what we're going to chat about. Again, rest in peace to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I encourage you guys to study her life. And I told you all, one of the things that I do with our iconic people is I study their minds. You heard me talking about studying the Tyler Perrys and the Master P's and people who have gone beyond making $1 million, making beyond the $1 million status. I'm studying the Oprah Winfrey's. I'm studying the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, people who are massively successful and effective at what they do, because I want to know how their mind works. I want to know what they went through and how they got over it. Right? We talked before about somebody like Annie Malone. And the question is, how did you generate all these millions, have almost 30,000 employees, you got married, you had a bad divorce, you almost lost just about everything, went to Chicago, built back up. Where's this mind? Okay. So anyway, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you for those of you who are putting that in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sponsor a student, give a love offering. Yes, Mom, you just sponsored a student. Hey, y'all see, I told y'all my family got it going on. Just sponsor the student, sponsor a student, sponsor somebody, okay? And bring them on in. Have a little watch party at your house. It's summertime. It don't get dark till 9. We starting at 6 o'clock. Have a little watch party at your house. Let people just hang out and then create conversation around this stuff so that we can start working on this stuff. Have 2-3 people over at your house. Just buy one and have 2 or 3 people over at your house. Put it up on the big screen and let's deal, man. Let's go. Let's create conversations and activities around healing and around loving and around uniting. Let's make it a lifestyle. All right, family. Let me see. Not forget to tell y'all anything. Next week, we're going to dive into corporate governance. It's a very important subject, especially since now many of us have businesses. We're starting to structure them. We're starting to create board of directors. And I'm getting more clients now with more seasoned businesses. I'm talking about Black and brown clients with more seasoned businesses who are saying, man, I'm struggling with my managers, my directors, and my board, and I don't know what to do. And 9 times out of 10, what I find is that their board is corrupt, not because they want to be corrupt. But when you put a board in place and the board is directly connected to the day-to-day operations of the business, then you're inherently going to corrupt your board because they have no space. There's no autonomy. And then ultimately your shareholders, whether it's your investors or your customers, they're going to suffer because nobody's going to negatively report on themselves to the stakeholders and lose their position when they're the ones over the operations. And so this one person said to me, well, but if there's a problem in marketing, then my My product development team may be doing well, and so they balance each other out. And I said, no, you're just creating a situation where they'll do favors for each other. So if marketing is not doing good, then when they come to vote, they'll go and talk to the other person and say, hey, vote for me. It's an inherent corruption. And even if they have more integrity, let me say it this way, even if they have more integrity and they don't cut deals, still you're asking them to govern themselves. It's like people get upset when you have these police boards and you have the police investigating themselves. It just inherently, I don't care how honest you're trying to be, the bias is the fact that you're governing yourself or you're investing or investigating yourself. And so in the whole corporate governance series, we're going to talk about how to structure your leadership team so that you have the right checks and balances in place. And so you don't put people in a situation where you corrupt them inherently. And that's what happens to a lot of us in leadership. We mean well, but we don't do a good job in structuring things, and we sort of make good leaders into bad leaders or good people into bad leaders. And it's just a structure issue. All right, family. I love you all very much. I wish you all more peace and blessings than you've ever received or imagined. Make sure, once again, you sponsor a student. I'm going to do some promos today on television for the Financial Boot Camp. And like I said, keep in mind, there's lots of people out here working on this stuff. I'm bringing to you what I bring to the table and the experience that I have. And I just hope that you share that, like, share, subscribe, sponsor. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all.